Welcome back to Digi Bros. Did
What's
we clear out
up?
this whole? We did clear out this whole room.
Yeah, I don't know where we... Oh, right, because we died in here. Okay.
Yeah, we died because I ran out of shit and got killed.
Yeah.
We've been playing this fun ass game from our childhood, having lots of distinct memories.
Of fun.
We were talking about moving a lot.
Yeah, something about that.
Something we did a lot as kids. Okay, for the record, we lived in 18 houses, but it wasn't evenly spaced across our lives.
Yes.
The first well, I lived in 18. I don't think you did.
Yeah,
the
couple
first
of us.
7 were when I was by the time I was 3.
Yes.
Like, our parents moved constantly when they lived in California, which is where me and Victor were both born. Neither one of us remembers ever living in California.
Yes,
but we were both
Cali
born
life.
there. I was born in Oakland, and you were born in San Diego. So that alone is indicative of how much moving we did. Those two cities are not next to each other.
Which we should also clarify, our dad was in the Navy, and so
right. Well, only for those first few years.
Exactly. So it made sense.
Right. We might have described how. Oh my god.
You died.
Oh my god.
Hey, bro, you're dead.
Oh, I thought I could take more hits than that.
You should never feel like you could take more hits in this game. Go back to town.
We are getting our fucking balls
Earthbound and
game.
down. Okay.
We do not look like we've been playing this for fucking...
What difference would that make? There's no skill involved in this game. It's a game about trying to walk around a monster so you don't get hit.
Oh, god damn.
There is no easy way to play this on the console.
I feel like we're under-leveled.
Yeah?
Like, should we be this low-leveled at Force 2?
No. You want to do Force 1 again?
Can we? It's gonna
We have to
weird.
exit the game and come back.
Yeah, let's just start over with Force 1.
Sweet.
Because why not? We're gonna have to do it at some point anyway.
Yeah, bro.
We're not gonna be able to beat the dragon at
We're
level
already
5.
grinding, yeah.
Especially not with only 2 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we lived in like 7 houses by the time we were, 3?
Yes.
Or by the time I was 3, rather. I have a tendency to just group our age together and be like, yeah, we were 3.
Yeah.
You, who's a year and a half younger than me, was
twins.
totally also 3. Do you think people would believe us if we said we were twins?
Probably. We should just pretend.
Right. I mean, we grew up close enough that we may as well have been
Yes.
twins.
Dude, do the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With the C-stick, I can control this little fairy.
So frustrating when someone's not controlling the fairy.
Yeah.
You're like, you're wasting your life.
I always bounce it off the edges.
Yeah.
Because it sort of looks like it's bouncing.
See, I would try to make it go in a perfect circle.
Such cool stuff that you can do just in the loading screens.
Yeah.
I never feel bored
Immersion.
by loading screens in this game. The most bored I get with this game is when you have to walk from this fucking medical center all the way to the other end and back. That's the most bored you'll be playing this game. Alright, so what we just did is by quitting game, we reset the levels. So we're gonna do Force 1 again, but it should be different, right?
Yeah.
Like it'll have rolled what the level will look like.
But one of the great things about playing multiplayer in this game is that if you exit the game and come back, you are put back at the beginning, and you have to redo all of the levels. And so if you want to stop playing the game, you now have to replay the entire game.
Oh fuck! Is that that true?
Yes.
So if we stop,
when we stop this playthrough, we will have to replay the whole game.
Oh man, I totally forgot.
I don't know how far we're gonna get in this playthrough, but it'll be a way to grind.
But by then, you're like OP as
unless you go on one player and unlock the levels on one player.
Oh yeah! So that must be what we did for GameCube chads.
Yeah.
Surely.
For sure.
So one of us
you have to basically take shifts because then you go and you do that on your own, but then now one of the guys is higher level than the other guy.
Right, because you can use the same character on single player as you do on multiplayer.
Yes.
To clarify that. So one of us would have to go on to single player mode, play through Forest 1 and beat it, and then on multiplayer mode we would be allowed to skip Forest. But otherwise we'll have to play through it every single time. What a weird fucking thing that is in this
very
game.
tedious mechanic going on there.
I don't know if that's a mechanic or just
I think it's
oversight.
just a half-ass, like multiplayer port they're doing on this.
That is super duper weird.
Look at how much stronger we are already, though.
Right. That's
Like
why
at
I was saying like we
level
should
3
probably
and
play
4.
through again because We should not have been only level 4 at the start of...
Yes.
Or I shouldn't be level 3 at least.
Yes. I don't know why you're still level 3. Holy shit.
I don't know, man. It seems like you get all the kills.
I guess.
You probably deal all the finishing blows or something. Because your attacks
I think we get equal XP. It's, as long as you hit the enemy, you get experience from it.
Is that the case?
Yeah.
Well, then I don't know why. I guess I've been dicking around or something. Maybe my character's harder to grow?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No answers. So yeah, we're trying to talk. I'm trying to bring up this topic about us moving all the time, and we keep getting onto other topics. Fucking
finish your topic, bro.
I don't even remember why I was
leveled up.
Like what I was trying to go in on. It was like everything changes when you move. You lose all your friends. Because we didn't grow up in the internet age.
You mean you lose your friend? We only ever have one friend.
We only ever have one close friend, but there's usually a few other. I can remember talking to multiple people in any house I lived in.
I don't.
Not at all.
There's always
what
like
about my
friend.
friends? You never hung out with them at all?
Nah, yeah.
You definitely. Usually it was like Victor had one really close friend who was like a fourth member of the family. Like we would treat. Victor would always have a friend we treated like family because they'd be at our house all the time.
Yes.
And then my friends usually were just sort of not as around.
Yeah.
You know. But I can remember like every house we lived in Virginia, I can remember because that was when we started school. And yeah, it was always like you go to a new school and they'd be teaching something totally different. So
it would always fuck you.
Right.
Like
you never know what the fuck they were talking about in class. It would always be on a different level from what you were doing before. Like, one school might be easy and the next one might be hard.
Yeah.
Totally different kinds of people.
That messed me up really bad in middle school. It's the worst.
It was just, it was always very different. And I even had it worse because the one house we lived in for the longest time, up until the house we live in now, was for most of when we were in elementary school. It was in a place called Darwood Court, which is not too far from where we live now.
Yeah.
It's like a 25-minute drive. Like, most of the houses we lived in were in Virginia Beach, just like we moved a lot in Virginia Beach.
Just a different area.
Like, I could
Which, as a kid, it felt like they were forever apart. Cause we had
yeah.
no sense of where anything was.
Exactly.
And now I'm like, oh, I know where all of these schools are. They're not that far away.
Yeah. Like,
we probably could have hung out with our old friends.
I drive by a lot of our old houses, like, casually sometimes. But, like, yeah, the house we lived in the longest and where most of our earliest memories probably come from is Darwood Court. We lived there for 4 years, and we had a few close friends there and shit. We hung out with our cousin Boyd a lot when we lived there. He's still around. Boyd's the only constant because he's actually family.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we're so close to our cousin Boyd, because like, no matter where you move, you'll always be in contact with your cousin through
that
the rest
one
of your
cousin.
Family. Right. Well, the other cousins all live far away.
Yeah.
Boyd has always lived relatively close. He's always been like in the Virginia area, except for when he was in Pennsylvania. Yeah. But even then, he would come down to visit like once a month for a while.
Boyd's okay.
He's a cool dude with a rad tude.
Yeah. Oh, that tude.
Yeah, man.
That rad tude. Rad Tad Tui.
But I had it worse in that house because I changed schools even while we lived there because I was put into the gifted school.
Yeah.
So the school we were at, which was like a kind of a rich white kid school.
Yeah, it was one of those where there was like the 1 or 2 black kids per class.
Right. I think we were like some of the lower class people there. Like,
that's interesting to think about because I would have had no idea.
Right. Well, because the area where the school was in was like a really nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like really like significantly
that
more
is true,
upscale
and we did not live in that neighborhood.
Yeah, no, we lived in like the next neighborhood over. I mean, our neighborhood wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It was very middle class, but like the neighborhood surrounding the school was definitely upper middle class, very strong Boy Scout community. Which we were both in the Scouts at the time.
That's a whole
Our
other
mom
story.
was a den leader. It was hilarious because my mom somehow ended up with all the misfit kids. Like, basically every other group was like all the like, Christian
preppy kids.
Like more preppy. A lot of them were nerdy, but they were more like military fathers like kind of kids and stuff like that. You know, people who took themselves seriously. My mom's Cub pack or whatever was all like the weirdos,
the delinquents,
who didn't
the kid
take
who
it
grew up
seriously at all
to bomb the school.
Oh yeah! Holy shit! That'd be a great story.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna put any other story on hold to talk about a kid, and you can Google this kid's name. His name is Philip Bay.
Yeah.
Tell me what comes up when you Google him. Do it before I continue this story, although Victor spoiled it already. Philip Bay was a kid in our Cub Scout troop, who was like this nerdy little pudgy kid who was known for the fact that he would never shut up. Everybody thought he was super annoying. I'm sure he was probably diagnosed with something. Like he had a lot of the Spurg element,
ADHD,
but
I think.
Definitely ADHD without question. He would never shut up. He had no sense of like when people wanted him to stop. You know, he was just a runaway train, and he was one of those who was kind of spoiled by his mom too. You know, but yeah, I don't think people liked him even back then. We were in the 3rd grade, and most people, when I considered him a friend because we were both into nerdy stuff, and I was not used to people.
I think you both wore glasses too.
I don't think we both wore glasses. I wasn't used to people talking to me, you know. So like the fact that he talked at great length about shit I didn't care about. A lot of the times I still remember some of the things he described.
Really?
Because they were fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. Because like for instance, because we were both in the gifted program at the school, and we both ended up going to the gifted school as well, though we weren't in any of the same classes. But like I remember there was a time we were all asked to do like a report on something, right? Like I think mine was on Egypt, and we just had to like research something, get up and talk about it for a couple minutes and whatever. He did his on Star Wars, and he went on for like 20 minutes.
Oh my god,
like,
he gave you the analysis bug.
Yeah. And
this kid's analysis rubbed off on you.
It wasn't so much analysis as he was just like, he had seen a lot of documentary stuff and was talking about it. And I remember that he was explaining that the way that they did the lightsabers was that they had like a pipe with a light bulb inside of it.
Yeah.
And like I've described this to you before, but I learned this.
Yeah, I didn't know you had learned it from him.
Yeah. He explained how lightsabers work. You can look that shit up. I'm not going to get into all the details of what he explained in this fucking report that I remember from 2nd grade for some reason. But he was in our Cub Scout group led by my mom. And, you know, he'd come to our house and he would just talk, never shut up. Like, you know, adults couldn't deal with him because they didn't want to hear him talk endlessly about shit. I think he was really into Daft Punk.
Wow. Were they around all the way back then?
Oh, yeah. They've been around since the late 90s.
Wow.
Discovery came out in like 2000.
True.
The album's old as shit. I think he was really into Daft Punk, and he was like describing like their music to me in detail, but I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure in retrospect it's Daft Punk. because every Asperger or autistic person I've ever known is a huge Daft Punk fan. I don't. Yeah. I've even read an article where a mother was explaining that her autistic son was really into Daft Punk, and she thinks it's something about their music appeals to autistic people, and that maybe one of the members of the band is autistic, or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I've never known an autistic person not to be, because Evan, growing up, our cousin Evan, who's very autistic, like growing up was super into Daft Punk, all he listened to. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. It's just it's an odd correlation. But yeah. Off topic, but he was super into Daft Punk, would go on and on. He was really into Warhammer, and he had a bunch of Warhammer miniatures, and I wanted to get into Warhammer because it seemed so cool, but it's so expensive, and because one Warhammer figure is like $15, which was like prohibitively insane expensive to me as a kid.
Yeah,
because I never had money,
even though we had a shitload of Pokemon cards.
Yeah, those are like $5 a pack. It's different from one.
Dude, Mom told me
costing $15.
Sometimes the Pokemon cards, like at certain places, would cost like over $10, like for a pack.
Yeah, depending on where you went.
And like I never knew that as a kid.
Oh, really? You didn't know they were different prices?
No, I had no idea that they were more expensive or how expensive they even were.
Why we
I always thought they were cheap.
That's why when Dad would get you like multiples, it was always at Toys R Us because they'd be like $250 there.
Really?
And so they were like way cheaper at Toys R Us, but we couldn't go to Toys R Us all the time because it's farther away.
I had no idea. I had no frame of reference for money when I was a kid. You know, I was like 5.
Comic stores would have like comic stores would charge more, and they'd also have all the individual cards laid out where they'd be like charging $9 for a damn Hitmonlee, or Hitmonchan. Yeah. I literally remember a $9 Hitmonchan because I wanted it, but the idea of $9 for one card that I could possibly get by chance, it's not that big of a set, was daft to me. But yeah, so he had a bunch of Warhammer toys. I bought one Warhammer guy, and I gave it to Philip to paint, and he never did. Wow. I kept bringing it up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get to it." And I'm like, "This motherfucker stole that shit." But anyway, I never really became friends with him, and once we weren't in Cub Scouts together, I never saw him again. We didn't live close by, so yeah, that was that. I think he probably stayed in the gifted school throughout elementary school. I left because I sucked.
Yes.
And my teacher was a bitch, and I went back to normal school.
Retard school.
Yeah.
Regular stupid fuck public school.
So it wasn't a private school. It was just a place where they put you didn't have to pay money to go there. I don't think. I've never been told as much.
Yeah, I don't think you.
You did. And they're rebuilding that place now. They just tore it down.
Yeah,
I was quite happy to see
massive
that.
Fucking ridiculous.
Because the gifted school is like actually really close to our house now.
Yeah.
Which for me back then it was a long fucking 2 bus ride trip to school, where they had to fucking
same city,
me.
But it's very far away.
Yeah. Pain in the ass. It's pretty close to where we live now. And they tore it down, and they're building a huge fucking academy there, an
man.
anime.
I'm level 5. I'm ready to take the shit.
They're building a fucking anime school.
Yes, they are. It pretty much looks like that.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like a K through 12 type school. So anyway, getting back to the point of this Philip Bay story. Didn't see him at all after the Cub Scouts. Never heard from him again. All of a sudden, on the news one day, some kid is getting arrested for bomb threats to his school. And it's Philip Bay! What are the fucking odds of this shit?
And it turns out, one of my favorite parts of this is that he turned out to be a kid who wore black trench coats and had really long hair. Right. And then turned out to want to blow up the school. Which we also wore trench coats and had really long hair. But we were totally not about that life.
Right. Well...
And he was one of those, they found, he had the homemade bombs and the guns and everything. He was ready to go.
He had a bunch of weapons. He had, video manifestos and shit.
Yeah. He wasn't blowing smoke out of his ass. He was ready to blow up the school.
He's in prison now.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in prison for
a long time.
Quite a while. I don't know if it was, 10 or 15 years that he went for, but it's been 5 or 6 years since this happened.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He's going to get out one day.
Yeah, possibly. I wonder how he'll have changed, but probably not for the better. I don't think prison really helps people that much for the most part. But yeah, super duper surreal because it's would things have gone differently? How would he or how would I have changed if we had always known each other?
Yeah. That's definitely a thing I think about. Is could we have influenced his life in a more positive way if we had always stayed his friend?
I think it's there's such a big difference in philosophy between because we were pretty depressed and we didn't necessarily like people in high school.
Yeah. But we never... I never hated other people. I've always internalized shit like that.
Internal.
It's always been it's my fault, and that's kind of you need to hate the world to do something like that.
I don't know what it is about Philip in comparison to us that he blamed other people.
Yeah.
And I know people treated him like shit. I know that had to be the case because I know he was annoying.
Yes.
I know he must have gone through high school having no friends, and people probably gave him shit all the time. And I even had at one point, because I wrote about this on my Tumblr or something way back, and there was a girl who had known him from school who contacted me about it and was she said that it had been a few years. Like, she had known him in middle school, and he was always trying to hit on her and stuff like that. But he was like annoying and kind of a skeevy douchebag, like exactly what I had imagined.
Yes.
Like, he was totally an asshole, and I can easily see that. But like, you know, clearly he blamed other people and wanted them gone for not liking him. Whereas in me and you's case, we always thought it was us.
Yes.
We are the problem. Like, people don't like me because I am broken. You know, like...
I've never cared that people didn't like me in particular.
Right. Well, I did.
Yeah.
I always... I don't know that... I don't know how to phrase exactly how I felt. I wouldn't say that I was like... It was more that I was upset that people didn't know anything about me and no one would ever ask me about myself, you know? Like, no one cared who I was throughout high school and middle school, you know?
I always found that interesting. I never felt like I wanted more attention from people growing up, which it always seems like a big contrast to what, like, you know, most people will talk about. It's like, oh, you know, I want friends and things like that.
Right.
I guess because I've always had, like, one really good friend that I never, like, wanted more friends.
Oh,
it's weird.
You got fucking everything. I'm the one who's broke, you asshole.
Oh, yeah.
I'm broke and underleveled compared to you, and you're fucking over there getting all the chests and shit.
Dude, I'm a fucking mage. I'm gonna be broke as soon as I need to get healing items.
Oh, fuck! I was not ready for that.
The thing I'm so happy about every other Phantasy Star online game is that you can recover your magic by hitting things. That just makes the game so much better to be a mage. Because it's just so expensive in this game to use magic.
So this is a Hilda-bear.
It's a big old bear.
We grew up calling them hide bears
It
because
looks
we never
really
noticed
more
the
like
L.
a gorilla. It's not really a bear.
Yeah, doesn't really look like a bear. But it's a Hilda-bear, and they are the hardest enemies in this area.
And they will
hit
punch
for
the
a lot
living
of
shit
damage.
out of you.
Yes.
They're weak to ice, so I have to use my ice. Ow! Scoops
Well,
Magoo is dead.
How about you take us home there, Scoops? I don't want to fight this thing by myself.
Has bit the poo. Is that a whole episode?
Yeah, well, are we done talking about Philip and
I
that?
guess.
Like, yeah, it's just it was a really trippy thing to hear about and wonder, like, if, you know, could that have been
it's
me?
quite surreal.
You
Yeah,
know?
he could have been anyone, you know? If we had stayed in the area, how would we have, like, grown up?
So I guess that's it for this episode of Digi Bros.
Very clean.